Hi, everybody. I chose to do my project based learning video experience over the lesson My Restaurant Project. So, the few lesson details that I got were that it was the grade middle school. They really didn't give us a particular grade, so I looked in the description, and the best I could do was middle school. The content areas that this lesson covered were writing, math, science, and public speaking. The major guiding question that was given to the students was, how would you design your own restaurant? And there really wasn't any specific standards stated, but the students worked on writing, like I said above, budget skills, calorie counting, and public speaking. All right, so for the lesson summary, the students were just basically given the question, like I said earlier, how would you create your own restaurant? So the first thing that they had to do was they had to create a restaurant menu. In this section, students use their writing skills to enhance the food names, and they also use Google to research real restaurants' menus as references. They called this the mentor text, kind of related it back to writing. Next, the students use their writing skills to write grant letters to get funding for their restaurants. Another good way to practice writing letters and stuff and essays. Then the students began working on their restaurant budget. For this, they used math skills. In Excel, they had to create graphs and charts and things that go along with the budget. And they also shopped for their restaurant and had to follow this budget that they set. Furthermore, the next thing they had to do was they had to use their science skills. For these science skills, they had to provide calorie counts for the menu items. They used, I think it was like myplate.org to do the calories and learn about what a calorie was and stuff like that, and really understood how some foods are healthy and some aren't. The last two things that the students had to do was they had to make a presentation over the restaurant. They used Prezi, and then they had to make a commercial for their restaurant. Both these things were shared with the class. That's how their public speaking skills were worked on. All right, so the things that I saw in this lesson is that the teachers were just mostly there for support. They really didn't do much instruction. The kids did that on themselves. And like I just said, the students were in full control of their project and their presentation. They did how they liked. They were in charge of their learning. The students the classroom, not the students, my bad. The classroom was set up with regular desks, and each student had a computer. Um, and this lesson was just basically creating a restaurant of their own. Menus, decor, slash furniture. They did a budget. They made a commercial. And it was mostly independent work. Like I stated above, they were in charge of their learning. The materials for this lesson were Prezi, Excel, myplate.org, Google, Windows Movie Maker, and of course a computer. And the technology, like I said down there, was a computer and a webcam. The webcam was used for the commercial. All right, so I did think this lesson was very effective. The students were very engaged, and since it was a real world problem and it was something that they could come up with themselves and use their brains and really make it anything they wanted. Also, I think making a restaurant is kind of cool. Everybody really likes food. Um, Did the students follow the guiding question? Yes, the students did. They had a very vague guiding question. It really wasn't super specific. It was just asking what they thought their restaurant would look like if they created it. And every student did a great job in the video. They did lots of like testimonials and interviews for each student, and they really were really good. This lesson was different than a traditional lesson because it looked like a real world. It took a real world thing like a restaurant and applied it to many content areas and skills that the students were learning. Like I said, math and science and writing, that was a huge one. And I think public speaking is a great one that it touched on as well. There really wasn't anything that I disliked about this lesson. I do wish I could have seen more about how what the teacher did. The last thing is a wonder. If I did this in my class, I would do like a planning a trip. And there's all my guiding questions. I'm almost out of 5 minutes. I talk a lot. Um, and the barriers, if lack skills or they have not technology that's needed. Benefits the students because it allows them to be creative, and it can benefit the teacher because it allows the students to be more engaged.